Good afternoon, everybody in Infinite You. David Chernick is here with me, and someone very special is here today. Vanessa Louise is going to be talking to us about love. And when I say that this lady brings the love, I mean it. On a personal level, this lady has transformed my life. I've known her since late July, and I have to say, in 48 years, no one has ever had the impact this woman has had. Sit back, relax. I'm not going to give you any more of an intro because all you need to know is one word, and it's love. Vanessa, it gives me great pleasure to say, over to you, darling.
I love you, quite simply. And I just wanted to say thank you, if I may, for giving me such a big subject, but also the opportunity to be able to share this platform with some of the most epic people I have ever come to meet. And already today, if I wasn't overflowing with love at the beginning of my day, then what you, Neil and Gamzee, have created the most incredible space for like-minded and like-hearted people to come together. And I, for one, am very, very grateful. So where do I start on such a massive subject? I think one of the things I would like to say at the very beginning is I used to be a very shy kid. I was a bit of a Norma No friends, and I didn't really have an awful lot to say. But one thing I was very clear on is I wanted to help people feel better about themselves. So the one thing I'll say is don't listen to me today for the next 30 odd minutes. Don't listen to me. As a speaker, I say this often. Don't listen to me. What I would invite you to do is I invite you to listen to you. The words I say are my own experience, my sharings, from my experience of life. I've had no training apart from the University of LIFE. And in all my learning, I've understood that what resonates with you is what I invite you to listen to. So don't listen to me, listen to how what I say lands with you. So a quick question for you. Have you ever been punched in the head? Have you ever had anybody screaming at you in your face? Have you ever been cut up on the roundabout and then they have given you the bird? Or worse still, have you ever acted or behaved this way? Ever since I was a little girl, all I've wanted is to help people feel better about themselves. And the realization of that for me came when I recognized I hated myself. And instantly in that moment, I felt very confused because I have two of the most beautiful parents and the most darling sister who is my very best friend. So how could I hate myself when I was so loved and adored and cherished and encouraged by three beautiful people? That was the very beginning of my journey. But one thing I've come to learn is the reason I want to help people feel good, the reason I want to feel good myself is because one of my greatest learnings has been hurt people hurt people. I don't like feeling hurt and I don't like experiencing pain. But what wounds my soul and the reason I am here is because it breaks my heart, and I don't use those words lightly. It breaks my heart when I see other people hurt other people, either with their words or with their actions. I want to live in a world that is full of love, fun, and kindness. They are my three top values. And when the kids and I lived on our own 6 years ago, I had these three values coming down the stairs. They were 13 and 11. And I said to them, if we can practice these values here after everything we've been through, we'll win in the outside world. We will experience these values in the outside world. So in preparation for today, and whenever I talk about love, the way I talk about it, I get mixed facial expressions, should I say. So in preparation for today, I just asked a couple of friends or a few friends and colleagues what they would like to understand about love. And as you can possibly expect, a lot of it is around romantic love. You'd be forgiven if you, when you think about love, if you were thinking about sex, romance, hearts, flowers, dates with a loved one. Because in the Oxford Dictionary, the definition of love is a profoundly tender, passionate affection for another person, a feeling of warm personal attachment or deep affection for a parent, child, or friend, perhaps, or sexual passion and desire. So, however lovely sex and romance is, and don't ever take it away, please, that doesn't it speak more of what we have learned to understand about love is all about the physical. And it's just one aspect of who we are for sure. But it's ways of experiencing love on the outside and needing love perhaps from another. I think the last year we've had, 2020, for me, has highlighted the need to really truly understand what love is, how we experience it, and what our relationship is with love. And I also think it's fair to say that 2020 has opened our eyes to the state that we are in personally, in our own lives, in ourselves, but also the state of the world around us. And in a lot of the conversations I've had, it's definitely opened us up. But a lot of people have struggled with the last year that we've experienced with the pandemic, because what it's done is it's highlighted the parts of them that they have been hiding for a very long time. And a lot of people don't actually know what to do with that part of themselves. And that's why I love my work, because that's where I've discovered that that's where the true beauty of who we are hides, in that dark place. So what do I want to share about love, and why do I believe it will help create for you to become an infinite you? So just really brief background of how I've got to where I've got to, because this isn't the vocation I chose. As I said earlier, I was quite a shy child. I didn't really read, write, or speak very much. I didn't really read till I was 23, struggled to write and comprehend, and really didn't really say boo to a goose. So this is not speaking, reading, and writing for a living. It's not where I saw myself. But I personally believe there's not just one pandemic. I believe there's three. And they are ill health, violence, and addiction. And these affect us all on many levels. Whether you have ill health through a headache that you might struggle with every day, or whether you are dealing with a life-threatening, maybe fatal disease. Maybe you beat yourself up, or maybe you beat other people up, or whether you are beaten up by other people, or even if you know whether you're experiencing war in the world. Whether you take paracetamol on a daily basis, whether you eat cake when you're sad, whether you drink alcohol, whether you are continuously busy to avoid connecting with yourself, or whether you're snorting cocaine, or whatever it might be. Addiction is the ability or the want to find something outside of ourselves to fill a hole that can never, ever be filled. Busyness and sugar, but busyness is the most addictive thing that we have going on in our lives for fear of facing ourselves. And all of these pandemics are as a result of a disconnection. But disconnection from what? We're born listening to others. We're born as a baby taught to listen to our parents, quite rightly. We're dependent on our parents. We go to school, we're taught to listen to teachers. We go further education. We then get jobs, or we listen to authority or the World Wide Web or the news. But who really sits us down and teaches us how to listen to ourselves, how to listen to what our hearts are trying to say to us? How many of you, like me, have hit that brick wall one too many times? How many of you have found yourself in rock bottom for the last time, or shit pit, as I call it? How many of us have just got to that point where we said enough's enough? When I get to that point, that's it. But we don't. It's time to change. And in 2008, I hit the deepest, darkest corner of my world where I just wanted to take my own life, and I prayed for a miracle. We get to that pain point for one last time. I picked myself up, I turned my life around. I did really well. I was enjoying life, and I thought I was done. I thought, good, here I go. But one thing I've learned is we're never done, and there's nowhere to get to. We only have this present moment now. So back at the end of 2016, I hit that brick wall again, and I was miserable, and I was fed up of being stuck in my story. And somebody said to me, Vanessa, until you truly learn how to receive, you will remain stuck and frustrated forever. Now, I didn't understand what he meant, but it resonated with me deeply. And one of the things that I've learned, like I asked you to do, listen to how anything lands with you, is when anything resonates with me, I listen. And I was having what I call a naked dream, where I would end up in my dream with no clothes on in the local high street with everybody I knew laughing and pointing their finger at me. And I couldn't understand why. When I'd sorted my life out and I lost 6 stone in weight, I was doing really well. I was healthy. My family were well and healthy. You know, really life couldn't be better. And I kept having this flipping dream. And I asked myself in my meditations, why am I having this dream where I'm caught naked with no clothes on and everybody's laughing and I'm embarrassed and ashamed? And it hit me. The embarrassment and shame and people laughing at me was all part of my story. And it was not about body conscious issues or body confidence issues. It was about the fear of truly showing up as I am, who I truly am. And then I questioned myself, who am I anyway? And that is one of the biggest questions we all ask ourselves. So that's when I truly learned what it was like to receive, when I began doing shadow work. And shadow work is accepting the parts of you that you would much rather admit didn't exist. It's painful. It's uncomfortable, but it is so rewarding and liberating, which is why I now do the work I do in helping people coming back to themselves. And as Ram Dass said, we are all walking each other home. So my work now has become about holding the space for people so I can love them and encourage them and support them in that tricky time as they turn into themselves and they learn who they are in their naked self. So 2017, I began my journey coming back to myself, truly coming back to myself. And this is when I understood what love was about and what it meant to me. The back end of 17, I'd lost my darling friend, Charlie, to mouth cancer. And she wasn't meant to die. And when I was working in my studio, her conversations, the conversations we had would go round and round in my head, because we were going to do this work together. We were going to teach and share what we believed to be true about divine love. So here I was on my own, and she was working with me because I could feel her, and she used to deliver messages to me a lot. And she woke me up with a quote, and that quote was from A Course in Miracles, and it really resonated with me. And that quote was, you believe in the insanity because you created it, but you do not believe in love because you did not. What does that mean? And I sat with it for days in my studio. You believe in the insanity because you created it, but you do not believe in love because you did not. And then it hit me. We believe in the insanity because our ego minds create a story that we believe to be true about everything we are not. But we do not believe in love. We do not believe in who we are at the core because we didn't create that. And in my reflection, in my quirky way where I talk to myself, write stuff down, I then came up with the phrase, we are everything and nothing all at the same time, because I truly believe that we are not just the physical. There is so much more to us. And while I explored and reflected this, we are everything and nothing, I remembered seeing my granddad after he passed away and looking at him in the chapel of rest thinking, that's not my grandpa. And I went through this conversation. So why is it not my grandpa? Well, because his energy, his spirit has gone. Okay, his heart stopped beating. Where does that spirit go? Well, nowhere really. It just is. It can't be created or destroyed. It just is. And then what happens to grandpa? Well, he was cremated. So whether you're cremated or buried, you go back to the earth. So we have the everything part and the nothing part of us. And that made total sense to me. And then in my exploration, I thought to myself, Vanessa, for God's sake, that's really flipping morbid. How can you talk about death to try and explain what you're wanting to share with the world? And then I went to sleep and I woke up the next morning, and like I do before I sleep, I send up my question to my angels. And when I came out the shower the next morning, there was this beautiful, vibrant rainbow on my carpet. And I thought to myself, that's it. That's it. I didn't learn very much at school, but the one thing I loved was science. And science tells me, and I knew exactly what had created this rainbow. This rainbow was created by a glass prism I had on my window ledge, because the sun had shone through the glass prism, and by refraction creates a rainbow. The natural expression of the invisible through the physical is a rainbow. That's it. Human prism principle. Now, I love triangles, which is why I had this glass prism. Then I thought to myself, okay, so the analogy of we are everything and nothing. The sunshine is the everything part. The sunlight is the everything part. You can't touch it. You can't see it, well, apart from sun rays, but it's, you can't really, it's not a tangible thing. But that shines through the prism, which is a tangible thing, and therefore presents and creates a rainbow. Then I thought to myself, if the clouds were out that day, the sun is still shining, the prism is still on the window ledge, but the rainbow wouldn't be there. And if I may, I'd just like to demonstrate what I mean quite simply. And I thought to myself, if I can demonstrate this in a drawing that an 8-year-old would get, then I think everybody could get it. So here we have the sunshine. This would be demonstrating the source, the invisible, the power, the spirit, the energy that left my grandpa's body, that left Charlie's body. This is the energy that beats our hearts. And when this energy passes through our hearts by natural expression, we get the rainbow. Now, our hearts here are filled because we allow the spirit that turns the world, the energy, call it God, universe, force, you could call it Louise for all I care, but there is an energy that is turning the world, growing the grass and beating our hearts. And that is represented here by this wonderful sunshine flowing through us. And then we are able to authentically express ourselves, our true colors. However, if the clouds are out that day, the sun is still shining, the prism's heart is not full. And this represents our story, our beliefs that we believe to be true about ourselves. And it doesn't mean to say that your life turns to shite, right? If you've got a story going on, because it just, we wouldn't exist, right? If the energy didn't pass through us at all. But you would be limited in your full expression of yourself. And this is where depression and anxiety comes from, because we are unable to be in the present moment at any one time. So in my understanding, I'm then thinking, okay, we're everything and nothing all at the same time. How does this relate? How can we relate this to our lives? And then again, in my science and in my studies, I love universal laws. Most of us know the law of attraction. But the law of polarity for me is something that I get very excited about. And the law of polarity tells us that everything has an opposite. We are everything and nothing. There is hot, there is cold, there is up, there is down, there is good, there is bad, there is in, there is out. I have a front, but I also have a back. I have an outside, but I also have an inside. Our lives are made up of extremes. And in my experience, the reason we experience pain is because we constantly try to live in one end because we don't want to experience the shit bits. We don't want to experience the pain. It doesn't feel very good. So we end up living here in the middle, which is boring and mundane and bleh, dragging ourselves through life because I might like to feel good, but I sure as hell don't want to feel that crap again. Absolutely not. And I don't allow myself to feel. So we numb ourselves out here with cake. Sorry, Neil. But we numb ourselves out with cake. We numb ourselves out. I know he's laughing. Probably munching on cake. But alcohol, sex, drugs, rock and roll, busyness, you name it. You name it. We'll numb out our feeling because it's just too much. What excites me most, and when I work with clients, and I have got some beautiful, beautiful clients that are just epic. They are incredibly powerful human beings and they have struggled in life because they have experienced real pain. But what if we experience real pain means we have the capacity to experience utter euphoria. And if you have experienced euphoria and that real bliss moment, you'll also have the capacity to feel the pain. My understanding in life is that when we don't feel very good because we don't want to, we don't understand how to experience both ends of the stick. I love to feel happy, but I don't like to feel pain. But what I've taught myself through the law of polarity and understanding the human prism principle is that if I don't open my heart, if I don't show up naked, if I don't allow myself to feel everything, these feelings are not good. They make us feel good. These feelings aren't bad. They just make us feel bad. So whenever you feel rubbish, whenever we feel pain, what we do is we suppress it because don't like that feeling. That makes me feel horrible. The shame. Oh God, nobody can know that I have done this thing. That was my biggest thing, was shame. Lived my life in shame because I was so ashamed of who I thought I was, which is all just rubbish and a made up story. But until I learned to accept my shameful self, my angry self, my bitch, Little Miss Sunshine is a miserable bitch, right? I'm all of it. You're all of it. We're all of it. But because we don't like to experience the shit bits and we squash that back down, if you're going to squash this down, guess what else you're going to squash down? This. Bam. Only when I can learn to accept the parts of me I would rather admit didn't exist, only then will I be able to truly accept the opposite. My shame, when I buried my shame, I buried my compassion. When I buried my compassion, I buried my shame. And life became a real struggle and I was only living half a life. Most of us live half a life because we are constantly trying to show up in this bit because I really don't want anybody to know I cry myself to sleep at night. It's flipping exhausting, trying to keep this shadow part of us down. And when you're triggered, when you judge, when you project, that person bugs me because ... You're denying that is a part that exists in you. When you're triggered by what somebody says, or the person that cuts you up on the roundabout and gives you the bird, what does that say about you? It says something about them, but what does it say about you? And that's what this work is about. And until you can learn to love every aspect of yourself, not only are you not able to experience love at its fullest and what it has for you, but you are unable to love anybody else in that way. I just want to share with you Brené Brown, who I know is we're huge fans. Al is a huge fan of Brené Brown as well. I'd really like to just share with you her definition of love. We cultivate love when we allow our most vulnerable and powerful selves to be deeply seen and known. And when we honor the spiritual connection that grows from offering with trust, respect, kindness, and affection. Love is not something we give or get. It is something that we nurture and grow. A connection that can only be cultivated between two people when it exists within each one of them. We can only love others as much as we love ourselves. Shame, blame, disrespect, betrayal, and withholding of affection damages the roots from which love grows. Love can only survive these injuries if they are acknowledged, healed, and rare. Why create and why come up with my own definition when I think Brené Brown has it spot on? When what excites me most is being the example of love in action. I've been labelled Queen of Hearts, Soul Saviour, all of which are truly humbling. And it's something I struggled to accept until I realised that actually, until I can understand and recognise and accept that who I am at the core is pure love. We are all at the core pure love. The everything part of us that is invisible needs this physical, finite part of us to be able to express itself. Your soul that resides in your heart, the energy that turns the world, grows the grass, and beats your heart, has already chosen you. Our pain comes from the fact that we don't receive, and that is what my dear friend, who bugged the hell out of me when he told me that in 2016, because I knew he was right. I knew he was right, but I didn't understand why. You will always struggle until you learn to receive. We're here talking today about giving, and giving is easy to do. Receiving, for me, is where we struggle most. Emotional health. There's a lot of talk about mental health, but not so much about emotional health. Mental health is what I think. Emotional health is what I feel. And it's very easy for us to rah, I am happy, I am this, I am the other, and think, and buy into all of that. And it's all really, really great. But if your thought process of I am happy doesn't match I am happy in your heart, there's a disconnect. Thoughts are the energy of the mind. Feelings are the energy of the body and the heart and the soul. So when you can think, and where the connection, when you can think the same as your heart has one job to do. Your heart holds your soul, your love, the essential part of you resides in your heart. It has one job to do, and that's show up. Our role is to receive that energy wholeheartedly. And Michelle did an amazing job earlier of articulating and demonstrating what it's like to receive that love. And the comments in the threads, I'm tingling as I say this. Thank you. I'm tingling as I say this because I feel calm. Oh my God, that's amazing. We have this available to us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. It's rubbish when people say to me, I'm stuck. I get it. I understand. I'm sympathetic. We can all feel stuck because there is also a human physical part of us as well. But the fact is, the reason we're stuck is because we are not allowing the energy that turns the world, grows the grass, and beats our hearts to flow through us. We block it with our story. I am not worthy. I am ugly. I'm too old. I'm too fat. I don't have enough money. They don't love me. No one loves me. Who flipping cares anyway? And we just block it. And then we wonder why we burn out because our physical bodies are going, whoa, girlfriend, I'm exhausted. You know, I've given you a broken leg. I give you migraines every day. I give you indigestion. You're bloated. Your leg's fallen off, whatever happens, but you're still not frigging listening. When you can experience that energy, as Michelle demonstrated earlier, and my comment to her was like, oh my God, you're like my soul sister, woman after my own heart. The power that you have, that you already are, the beauty of who you are. It doesn't matter what you look like on the inside. My old world was cosmetics. I went into the industry in TV and film makeup and teaching people how to look fabulous on the inside. But when you're still crying on the inside, what's the frigging point? The beauty of who you are is the beauty of your own heart. And when you can truly learn to receive the energy, the invisible part of you, and allow that energy to guide you, it's scary because we've come so far off track. We've come so far off our track, and living in your truth is not an easy thing to do, but it is simple. The idea about emotional health is thinking the same as you feel. I'm gutted I haven't had a chance to talk to you about sex, because Al and I have wonderful sex, don't we, Al? Or actually, I saw Bear, I say it, S-E-X. Maybe we'll leave that for another time. Sacred energy exchange. If you have challenging relationships or you are easily triggered by other people, I'm laughing because I can see them laughing on the screen. He's just fallen off his chair, actually. But SEX and my darling girlfriend, Charlotte, I'll be really quick because I'll finish on this. I know I'm up. My darling girlfriend, Charlotte, and if she's on, say hi, darling. She said to me, why is it I always feel so great when I spend time with you? This was a few years ago. And I said, that's because we have SEX, Sacred Energy Exchange. And what that is because you show up naked, in your truth. I don't judge my girlfriend, Charlotte. She's beautiful. She opens herself up. She shares of herself, knowing I'm just going to love her, and I receive her. And because I know she loves and receives me, I offer myself up. And there you have the exchange, the infinity. We experience the receiving, the giving, the up, the down, the pain, the love. And that's it. So much more I could talk about. There are benefits of being in love, showing up naked, having SEX and being in love. It boosts your immune system, strengthens your connection in your relationships. It raises your energy levels. You have mental clarity and decision making, and you become awesomely resilient. And I just want to finish on this one quote by Wes Angeluzu. Go and love someone exactly as they are, and then watch how quickly they transform into the greatest, truest version of themselves. When one feels seen and appreciated in their own essence, in their nakedness, one is instantly empowered. My invitation to you is, what one thing could you do for yourself today and every day? Could that one person you go and love be you? It all begins with self. Thank you for being here. I love you.
Wow.
Whoa.
David.
Some of that was I found, and there's well over 100 comments in here already. The talk has just finished. Some of that was really, really hard for me to hear, and I'm very, very grateful for you sharing that with me and with all of us here, Vanessa, Louise. Some great takeaways there as well, and people have been very open in the comments here. I'm going to look forward to reading those too. But I'm so pleased that you came back in the end with your reference to the SEX, because otherwise I don't think I would have been able to say anything at this point. But Al, any comments before we head off into the comments section?
Any comments? I told you it would be good, didn't I? I said to you it would be good. We've all been great today, but I promise you that as good as that was, get to know this lady. There's a group on Facebook called Vanessa Loves. Go and join that group because it's like this all the time. Vanessa, you know I love you. You've changed my life. I have the feeling you've changed 1,000 people's lives today. Slowly but surely. Some of them will watch live and some of them watch and catch up. Go and enjoy the comments and the love that they're giving you, darling. We'll be back in... I need to go and rest. I need to go and lie down. I'm exhausted. V, you're amazing. We'll be back in 10 minutes with our keynote speaker, the infinite giver, Greg Davies. Vanessa, thank you so much. Thank you.
I love you. Thank you.
I love you too.